Your Royal Majesty King Alfred Papa Priye JTF, Amayanabo of Twombas, and Chairman of the Traditional Rulers Council, and former military governor of Old River State. May I recognize the Chairman of the House Committee on Security, Colonel Bernard Kenabai. I would like to specially recognize our august guests, Rear Admiral Akinjide Akirinade, Commander Joint Task Force Operation Delta Safe. May I recognize the Chief of Staff Government House, Right Honorable Talford Ongolo, top government functionaries, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, you have always collaborated with the armed forces to ensure that security of lives and property is maintained in Bayelsa State. Today we have the new commander of the Joint Task Force Operation Delta Safe here to pay a courtesy call on you. He is Rear Admiral Akinjide Akirinade. Please, a round of applause for him. To introduce members of his entourage, I would like to invite the coordinator of the Joint Media Campaign Center, Operation Delta Safe, Major I. Abdullahi. Please, let's appreciate him as it comes.
Head of the team today from Headquarters Operation Delta Safe is Rear Admiral Akinjide Akirinade, who is the Commander Operation Delta Safe, the Joint Task Force. In his entourage are the Maritime Component Commander, Commodore Z.S. Muhammad. Next to him is the Component Commander of the Department of State Security, Director of Internal Security, Abdullahi Mahmoud. Assistant Commandant of Corps, B.A. Ali, is the Component Commander of the NSCDC. The Head of Department Prisons is Assistant Commander of Prisons, Haruna Sambu. Seated next to him is the Head of Department, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Assistant Commander of Narcotics, Olusegun Adeyeye. And as earlier highlighted, Your Excellency, I am the coordinator, Joint Media Campaign Center, otherwise known as the spokesman of the Joint Task Force, Major I. Abdullahi. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Bayelsa State, Honorable Henry Dickson, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Rear Admiral Juna, retired or not tired, His Royal Majesty King Alfred JTF, the Chairman of the Traditional Rulers Council of Bayelsa State, the House Committee Chairman on Security, the Chief of Staff, Government House, members of the State Executive Council, senior government officials present, my entourage, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the press, a very good afternoon. Sir, it's really a great honor and privilege for me to be here this afternoon to pay a courtesy call on His Excellency, the Executive Governor, and to also see how His Excellency is faring. As we can all see, the Excellency is faring very well, and we give God the glory for that. Sir, when I was appointed the commander of the Joint Task Force late last month, what first came to my mind was total joy. Not because of the appointment, because Bayelsa State is very, very dear to my heart. I was here as a very young officer, and I'm very, very proud to be very associated with this state. One of the other things that came to my mind was I didn't really know much about the Executive Governor, apart from seeing him on TV, very energetic and all that. I didn't know much about him. So I met a senior citizen who knows the governor very well. I said, sir, I'm going to Bayelsa State. What's your advice? He said, well, he said in a very simple way, he said, he called the Executive Governor by his first name. He said, Henry. Henry is a very young man, very energetic, very strategic, but you must know that he's a man that loves his people dearly. And he's also and above all, is a good Nigerian. So when I came on ground, apart from that, there's some other things that I noticed about the governor. And the fact that he's a strategic leader that understands the imperatives of national security. And he also understands that national security itself is local, just like politics, is local. And what I'm trying to say here is that most people assume that national security is about military efforts and all that. But he has gone beyond that to look at the social, because national security is about the total man itself, his well-being, his welfare, and all that. And I can see that the governor has gone into some specific areas. For example, I take education, for example. He has done so well in education, I don't need to start reiterating what he has done. And we also look at infrastructure too. Look at the roads, network. All of us know what it is to construct 1 kilometer of road here. And it's so fascinating, it's fascinating and fantastic that I really want to commend His Excellency, because at the end of the day, security itself is about the human being, and that's what the governor is addressing. And I want to congratulate the good people of Bayelsa State for His Excellency. Sir, coming to Operation Delta Safe. Sir, the Delta Safe, sir, you are very aware of our mandate, that is to protect oil and gas infrastructure and deter militancy and all that. But your package itself cascades to the extent that we are also involved in internal security operations, because we have land forces and also we have maritime forces that are fully deployed in all the crannies of the state. And to that extent, we have been fully involved in the security of Bayelsa State, and our contributions, I think we have been fairly well acknowledged. Particularly the last general elections, I think we discharged our duty to the best of our ability. So having said that, sir, there's one initiative which we are doing at the OPDS right now, sir, which is about conflict resolutions. That's liaising between the IOCs and the communities. As of today, sir, we have intervened in about 500 cases of this conflict resolution, and to a large extent, sir, the community, they beginning to develop respect for us in that aspect. And in fact, from now till May 14th, we have so many cases that we lined up to discuss at my headquarters with. Sir, apart from that, sir, we are also trying to get ourselves involved in some civil-military relations projects. But of course, you know the challenges of having to look for viable project to do. Of course, it's very expensive, but in our little way, we will try to see what we can do to the local community that we serve. Sir, I don't want to take your time because I know you are already scheduled to go somewhere else. Above all, sir, I want to really appreciate you, sir, for everything you have done for the Joint Task Force. We appreciate you. We appreciate the good people of Bayelsa State. And, sir, we should not be tired of us when we come begging for assistance, sir. Thank you, sir, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of our great state, our leader and father and king and chairman of the State Council of Traditional Rulers, the members of the House of Assembly, and in particular the chairman of the House Committee on Security, the Chief of Staff, and members of the State Executive Council, special advisors, top government functionaries on my left, the government of Bayelsa State, and on my left, the team, our new commander of Operation Delta Safe, which we always call the Joint Task Force, but they are technically called Operation Delta Safe now. It's Rear Admiral Akinjide Akinrade and members of his delegation. Gentlemen of the press, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First, on behalf of the government and the good people of this great state, not only do I welcome you to our state, not only do I welcome you to my office for this interaction, I want to congratulate you because you are a Bayelsan indeed, in your own right. Because I also got to know when your appointment was announced, I made some inquiries. And I was told of certain things. The first is that you are a professional, very diligent, professional, and tough officer. Honest officer. Dedicated and selfless officer. That's what I was told. And I said, what is the name? I checked the name properly. And I know that you also carry a very enviable name and pedigree. And not only that, I came to know that when, as you rightly said, when you were a younger officer, you served here in this state. And you were one of those working with our early administrators when this state was created. And by the way, the younger people may not know, their pictures are here. The first we had was two young naval officers. Two naval officers were our first administrators. Ayeni, now of blessed memory, and Olubolade. And you worked here in this state. I used to come here as a practicing lawyer, and I saw what those of you who had the pioneering responsibility of settling down, forming a government, and starting the initial developmental efforts of this state. I saw what people were doing, and I was in the job movement, so I knew what was going on. I was told you were one of those assisting them, even settling down the government, tackling security issues, supporting the administrator, and starting the very first set of buildings and all of that. So you are welcome home again. Welcome home again. As you have come, you have seen the progress our state, your state, has made since those initial modest efforts. And we are deepening the frontiers of development in the state, investing in the right areas, education, healthcare, infrastructure, this difficult terrain, investing in stability and peace building, which is key to any kind of development. And so I welcome you. Your state, as you would have found out even in your short stay here, is peaceful, generally speaking. Your state is on a fast-moving trajectory of development. But this development, all the hard work that I and my team have done in the last 7 years, almost 8 years now, will come to nothing if the security infrastructure is not there, it's not strong enough to sustain it. And so I always give credit in all that we have done to God, to the people, and in the area of stability, I give credit to the hard work of the officers and men of all the services that work here. I've had an opportunity to work with. I want to pay special respect to your immediate past predecessor, Rear Admiral Suleiman, Aposhi Suleiman, another solid naval officer, tough and professional, never political. And I have been told that you are another senior, tough, professional naval officer in that mold, because I was concerned. You talked about general elections. And let me use this opportunity to say what I've been saying ever since. The Nigerian security services failed me as governor, failed this state, and failed our country. But they were not officers of your service. In all the situations that I've had to manage, there are services that have discharged themselves creditably. In the last elections, the Nigerian army failed the state, colluded with criminals. The state security service in Bayelsa and its leadership failed me, continues to fail me, continues to fail our state. I've never requested anything other than that security officers who are here do their jobs. Do their job. Allow politicians to do the politics. But people get posted here to deliberately sabotage state security. Security officers, the SSS and its leadership here, army officers, working with non-state actors and criminal elements to the detriment of constituted government authority. You are welcome. I want to commend essentially your officers and men of the Joint Task Force. Admiral Suleiman gave solid leadership, and all the reports that I have from all our communities, everybody have the highest regard for Operation Delta Safe and the officers. I have no doubt that you are going to continue in that tradition. From all that I've been told, and from your pedigree, I know you have the capacity from your pedigree and your experience and all that I've heard to resist influences that are adverse. Admiral, as long as you are here doing your job, you have my total support. My duty and the duty of every governor who knows his salt is to support security services, support law enforcement agencies. We cannot take sides with criminals against constituted authority. No. So you can be rest assured. And that is why this government will continue to make investments to support services. We support in building military formations for the army. There's no government in this state, in this country, that works closest with the Nigerian army than this government that I lead. As we speak, the Army Engineering Corps are building for us as contractors in Nage, the deep sea port we want to build. They are building the forward operation base. This government built the engineering brigade in Tororo Axis. We have supported the Navy in Kulama. We are supporting you and the Navy again to establish effective presence in the Luasere area so that we can keep criminality off. We don't want criminals to thrive in our state. And no responsible political leader should be happy that criminals are protected, that murderers are shielded, and no security officer from any service should allow his name or his service to be used in aid of crime and criminality. I want to assure you that this government of this state will partner closely with you. We trust you, we know you from your pedigree. And with what you did as a younger officer here, with all we have told, anything you need from this government, tell us. Anything you need from us, tell us. We need you to advance security in this state because of the maritime nation. Because of the maritime nation. Confronting piracy in the waterways. Dealing with those vandals, people who want to destroy strategic national investments. We'll support you. And we have the local infrastructure and the systems, the information systems. I want to use this opportunity also to call on community leaders, youth leaders, and all others to work closely with the commander of Operation Delta Safe and his officers and men around our state. They are a force for good, not a force for bad. The work you are here doing with your officers and men is essential for the development and prosperity of our people. So I look forward to working closely with you, and please let me know any area we can support. You have our general support to flush out crime and criminality along the waterways. Everybody knows that I don't condone crime and criminality. And where there are people attacking uniformed personnel, where there are people attacking strategic assets, where there are people impeding free flow, free movement of our people in our waterways, Commander, you have my support to take decisive actions against them. The only caveat is that our expectation is that officers and men who come to work here should be apolitical. There is no request that I will give to a security man that is unlawful. I don't play politics with security. And crime and criminality has no partisan color. So feel free to deal with all those criminals who want to slow down our development. And don't let politics come in between. I know you and I trust you that you will do your job. Once again, my special regards to the Chief of the Defense Staff. My special regards to your worthy predecessor, Office Admiral Aposhi Suleiman. We all wish him well in his endeavors. And I look forward, we as a state look forward to relying on you to protect and support the security of our communities in all the local governments of our state. Thank you as I formally welcome you again to your own state. On behalf of the government and the good people of this great state, one of our own who had served here earlier in his career, it is my singular honor and privilege to present this very special plaque to you as a token of our appreciation, of our pride in your achievements and accomplishments professionally, and also your contribution to the development of our state, and also to underscore the fact that we appreciate your presence in our midst once again. A very strategic capacity, Commander of Operation Delta State, that will have the responsibility of securing our waterways and contributing in a large extent to the stability and peace and security of our state. We know you have received several plaques in the past, and from your trajectory, you will receive many more plaques. But this plaque we are giving you is a very special one. It's unlike any other one. A special plaque, not just of this state, but of the joint nation. This plaque, when you look at it, you will see the sacred signs and colors and images. Some of them will be familiar to you because you know the terrain. You will see the fisherman and his wife fishing. Even though oil activities have destroyed all our fishes, no more fishes to be caught anymore. You see the oil well still flaring gas, and our people suffering the effects of pollution. Some of it contributed by our own people out of ignorance, which again is one of your core mandate, flushing out all those who are involved in illegal bunkering activities and contributing to the destruction of our very precious ecosystem and environment. Today, it's my singular honor and privilege to present this to you in appreciation of your years of meritorious service to our country and humanity. Once again, to welcome you home. Feel free, you are a Bayelsa in your own right, and we look forward to working with you. Find a place in your home or office, but most especially find a place in your heart to keep and remember this special plaque, which is a product of the cultural revival programs of my government. Congratulations and you're welcome home.
You know, as you're well aware, the issue of sea piracy, sea robbery, it's been a very great concern both to the populace and even to the military force. As I'm coming in now, what I intend to do is there are two-pronged approach I intend to take. The first one is going to be based on proactive intelligence. And also, we are also going to intensify efforts to identify, because the problem is that most of these sea piracy and robbery, they actually start from the land. So we're going to identify this, although several efforts have been done in the past to destroy most of these military camps, but we are still going to make more efforts to destroy these camps, because once we can destroy these camps from the land, then the issue of sea piracy will be drastically reduced.